Hi, everybody. Dan Illman, Mike Beer. We're kicking off a 50-cent late pick four at Parx on Pennsylvania Derby Saturday with the Grade 1 $1 million Cotillion Stakes. 3-year-old fillies going a mile and a 16th. Let's take a peek at this field. Guarana, arguably the division leader. I guess some folks would say that her stablemate Dunbar Road's up there with her. She is undefeated in her career. She is the 9-5 morning line favorite. You've got a Kentucky Oaks winner in this field, Serengeti Empress down towards the inside. And as we take a look at the Timeform US pace projector, that rail draw, very important for Serengeti Empress, because if she breaks running, she's making the front.
Yeah, she is. She's a really fast horse, and she really only has one way to go, and that is to put her on the lead and see if she can wire this field.
Now, Guarana handled Serengeti Empress 2 starts back in the Acorn by 6. I thought Serengeti Empress ran pretty well, all things considered, that day. I know she was on the good rail. She didn't break very well. She rushed up to battle with the lead, and I thought she finished okay. She came out of that effort to turn back in the test, going 7. And everyone was saying, well, there's just going to be a ridiculous speed duel, Serengeti Empress and Confetti. It's going to set things up for the closers. Well, it didn't happen. We turn into the stretch of the test. Serengeti Empress faster than Confetti from the gate. She's on the inside. Confetti on the outside. Serengeti Empress, really no quit here. Confetti just a little bit better. Just a good performance for Serengeti Empress. And again, we know she can stretch her speed if given an ideal pace scenario.
Yeah, good performance for both of these fillies. Certainly good performance for Serengeti Empress, who's just been, she's been really, really good. Basically, for the most part, she had that trouble where she reportedly bled in the Fairgrounds Oaks. But other than that, she's just been rock solid. She's really fast. She's going to the lead from the rail here. We'll see how Guarana decides to play, because Guarana's fast too, and she wants to be forward. So, I guess it's all a question about when do these two hook up.
A Fleet Destiny, the number 2, adds blinkers. The source eligible for a non-winners of 2 life, but really doesn't know the connections anything. She is graded stakes place. She is made as a broodmare. Just hasn't gotten that much better, Mike. This year as a 3-year-old. I thought she was okay at 2. Distance will be fine. Very tough spot.
Yeah, it's very tough for her. As much as anybody in the field, she's hoping that the 2 favorites hook it up in this race.
Very quietly, the number 3 Street Band has emerged as one of the top 10 3-year-old fillies in the country, I believe. This horse won the Fairgrounds Oaks and won the Indiana Oaks 2 starts back. Beautiful ride by Sophie Doyle in the Indiana Oaks. And then in the Alabama, just a torrential downpour about 30 minutes before the race, 40 minutes before the race. And Sophie Doyle gave Street Band another great ride. Let's turn to the stretch of the 1.25 mile Alabama. You see Sophie giving Street Band a big opportunity with the white blinkers and the white hat. She actually strikes the front for a brief second. And then I wonder if the 1.25 mile got this horse late. But she's real honest and would benefit if there's some hitting up front.
Yeah, acquitted herself very well in this race, I thought, because the real question coming into the Alabama was, how does that Indiana Oaks and Fairgrounds Oaks double stack up at the top of the division? You know what? It stacked up pretty well, I thought, Dan. I think it's also worth pointing out that when you go back to her Kentucky Oaks, which looks disappointing, she did not get a great trip in that race. This filly is quietly making her way towards the top of this division.
Geltron's graded stakes winner, pulling off a 51-1 shocker earlier this year in a 1-turn mile, the Grade 2 Devona Dale. She was 3rd in the Acorn, 3rd in the Mother Goose. She's done some nice things for her connections. They took the blinkers off last time out in the local prep for the Cotillion, the Catherine Sophia on September the 2nd, and Geltron was just better than these horses. She went right to the front as they turn into the stretch, and she widens in the lane to win by 8 lengths with a career best 91 Buyer's speed figure. She might be a fly in the ointment for horses like Serengeti Empress and Guarana, because she does have that early speed.
She does. I mean, she's a real overachiever. When I look at her in races like this, I almost never give her the respect that she deserves. And you know what? She's run pretty well in some of these races, and picking up pieces. She's going to have a tougher time of it than she did in that race we just watched, facing these horses. But she's a hard horse to discount.
Mike, I'm a big fan of the 5 Collegeville Girls. It's just too tough a spot for her, I believe, as she stretches out around 2 turns for the first time. We saw her debut last year at Saratoga. She beat a couple of next out winners, looked good doing so, ran her against Stakes Company, then off of a long layoff. She got back to form last time out at Parx, and they put her in for 50 that day, and she got it done very nicely on the lead. It was a very soft trip. She was able to make an easy lead. They turned into the stretch. And Collegeville Girl returns to her best form. But as of right now, her best form is a 76 buyer, and that's a long ways away from the big names in this race.
Yeah, they found a really tough spot for her to stretch her out for the first time. I'm with you. I'm a little bit of a fan of hers. I think she's a really nice New York bred. I don't like her in this race.
Number 6, Horologist, a New Jersey-bred daughter of your favorite stallion, Gemologist, got it done for the 4th consecutive race in the Grade 3 Monmouth Oaks. Took down a big scalp in Jaywalk, last year's Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies winner. We turn into the stretch of the Monmouth Oaks. Horologist down towards the inside. Jaywalk is a heavy favorite. It looks like perhaps she's got Horologist's number. Horologist just says no way, and she keeps on going down to the wire. Sweet Sammy D finishes a one-paced 3rd.
Yeah, nice win for this horse. It's not like when you go back and watch the replay, Dan, that she lucked into this win at all. She kept right up close. She came through on the inside to challenge the heavy favorite, and she beat her to the wire. There's nothing wrong with this performance. She's got good tactical speed. She'll be up close without wanting to be on the lead. There are things to like about her at a big price.
7, She Makes Me Smile, 50-1 on the morning line. We saw Jeltrin win the Catherine Sophia. She Makes Me Smile was beaten a country mile in that race. She was claimed for $7,500 back in June. She's just in too tough.
Yeah, there's no need to really talk about this horse.
Let's talk about Guarana, though. There's a lot of need to talk about her. Her debut was awesome. She won by 15 at Keeneland. She came back to win the Acorn in start number 2 with a 99 buyer, beating the way more experienced Kentucky Oaks winner Serengeti Empress. And then first time 2 turns in the Coaching Club American Oaks, no problem as well. Jose Ortiz got her to a nice, easy lead and got her relaxed. We turn to the stretch of the Coaching Club. There's Guarana on the lead. And these are some good horses chasing her. Champagne Anyone, Point of Honor, Off Topic. They're okay. Guarana, though, just too much horse for them considering the trip she got in here. She is capable of rating, and I just think you got to send her and just have her sit off of Serengeti Empress, don't you?
Yeah, we'll see. She's going to go forward, and then we'll see, at what point do they decide to go after that horse on the lead. She's just really talented, Dan. That was her first, as you say, first 2-turn race. You can see her getting a little drifty in the stretch there, sort of altering course a couple times, but she did not stop running. She's bred to go this far. To me, she's just the horse to beat. I greatly respect Serengeti Empress down on the rail, but this is the horse to beat.
Multiple stakes placed horses, Sweet Sammy D. We saw her finish 3rd in the Monmouth Oaks. Just really didn't see the excuse there, Mike. I mean, Horologist and Jaywalk were involved in a pitched battle, and Sweet Sammy D ran just fine. Connections have to be thrilled to get a graded stakes placing with her. She seems to be improving. She's going to have to improve a lot more.
Yeah, she is. It's a tough spot for a horse like her, but I agree with you. I thought she ran fine last time.
Bellafina might be lurking in the weeds in here for trainer Simon Callahan. The blinkers go back on. She wore blinkers earlier in her career, and she won both of those starts, the Sorrento and the Grade 1 Del Mar debutante. Now, you and I have always liked her better at slightly shorter distances, 7 furlongs, maybe a 1-turn mile. In the test last time out, the pace just didn't really materialize, I think, the way the Connections had hoped. But this horse has quality. She is a legitimate Grade 1 horse on her best day. Where do you think she fits with the Guaranas and Serengeti Empresses? Because if they get involved early, this is a dangerous horse.
Yeah, it is. Based on her last 2 races, it's hard to have a lot of confidence in her. But, as you said, the test didn't develop really for her, and she broke slowly in that race. I think that was the end of her day, basically. She's better than that. She could get a really good trip in this race. I still don't like her as much around 2 turns. But there's no denying she fits really well in this race.
After Jaywalk swept through the Frizette and the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies at 2, a lot of folks were extremely excited, and justifiably so, for her 3-year-old campaign. And she bombed at 1-5 in the Devona Dale, and she was bad at even money in the Ashland, and she just didn't show up in the Kentucky Oaks. And they put blinkers on her, and she rebounded with a win against weaker horses in the Delaware Oaks. And I think a lot of folks saw that 96 buyer and thought, well, maybe Jaywalk is back to her best. And last time out in the Monmouth Oaks, she made the lead. We saw Horologist come inside on her, and she just has to win that race, doesn't she?
Yeah, she just doesn't have any excuse there. It's a little bit of a disappointing loss, even though Horologist is a nice horse. Jaywalk probably has to win that day. The problem with her, Dan, is she hasn't come back as good this year. And I think the other problem for her is having post 11 is I think they found out in the Delaware Oaks that she's at her best on the lead. And I don't see how she makes the lead in this race.
Well, she could gun out of there as she did in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies, forcing Serengeti Empress to take a seat that day. It worked out well. I don't think the Connections of Serengeti Empress are going to allow that to happen this time around, drawing post 1 compared to Jaywalk's post 11. Top selection time for the Cotillion, Grade 1, $1 million race. It's the race preceding the Pennsylvania Derby. Divisional honors could be on the line right now. Who do you like?
Yeah, I'm not against either of the two favorites, Guarana, Serengeti Empress. To me, they both make perfect sense in this race. If I had to pick one, I would just take Guarana. I really like her upside. I went a different direction here, just looking for a price. I've been sort of taken by Street Band's most recent series of races, and she's going to be a good price in this race, and she can sit a good trip in this race. So I'm going to take a shot with her. I went 3, 8, and 1.
And she has such great tactical speed and has been really ridden with a lot of confidence by Sophie Doyle. At 8-1 on the morning line, you could do a lot worse than the 3 Street Band, who's got quality. I respect Serengeti Empress. I love this inside post. I think they're going to go, and I think they can take this field all the way at 1 mile and a 16th under Arad Ortiz. I just went with the two favorites. I think Serengeti Empress is a slightly better price. 1-8 for me in the Grade 1 Cotillion. Race number 10 at Parx on Pennsylvania Derby Saturday is an approximate post time of 5:14 Eastern. Good luck.